It's just, how do you respond when you receive that? It's going to land into, you know, a man or a woman's life and into the home and into their reality, and it's going to rest and it's going to have an effect filtered through their beliefs, through what they believe is that they're holding in the hand, what they believe their status is, what they believe about how they must respond. They're all your beliefs, they're all the beliefs that have led us into this mess that must change. I'm hoping this video will like sort of prompt in a little bit. So just as I go through, I'm just gonna like give you like 2 examples of where I've been into court personally, you know, in the past, and how I'm going to deal with something like this that many of you, I mean, this is not an unsubstantial amount of money, it's 5.5 grand. I don't know 5.5 grand to anybody. I wish I had 5.5 grand, I'd go and help some people out with it who I know are struggling. So I've got this, so how am I going to reply to this? Well, it's from a corporation, a company called CCS Collect. It's written in uppercase writing, which is a deception and which is a fraud. Okay, that's what I hold in my hand, that's what I see. I don't see a threat. I don't feel intimidated by it. I don't feel like it holds any power or authority to affect this man in any way, shape or form. This is targeted towards a legal person, towards an entity, towards a corporation. I know that. I'm aware of that. So why should I be afraid being a man? I can just, at that time, I can say, well, I don't wish to interact with these people. I believe that this is a fraud. I don't hold the same beliefs as they hold, or I don't hold maybe the beliefs that you hold. I'm sure I don't. But like, you know, you have a belief about what you're holding in your hand. I have a belief about what I'm holding in my hand. And those beliefs are going to motivate my behaviour. They're going to dictate my actions and what I intend to, how I intend to respond to what I hold in my hand. And you know, a lot of people, the hearts are going to sink, the stomach is going to be in knots, the whole brain is going to go into overdrive. They're going to get a rush of adrenaline and fear, and they're just going to be absolutely not the person they were 10 minutes before that letter came through the letterbox. So who has a right to take your peaceful day and to turn it into that nightmare, that avalanche of fear and anxiety? Does anybody have a right to do that to you? Or do you believe that they have a right to do that to you? I don't believe they have a right to do that to anybody, and you shouldn't have. You should know that nobody has that right to do that to you either. And you must change with your beliefs. What I'm looking at in my hand is a fraud and a deception that has caused fear, that has interfered with my inherent rights as a man, enforceable by law, to be let alone in peace. I've got the right not to be defrauded. I've got the right to move that claim and to have that claim to be heard in law. And if I can prove that right, if I can show that fraud, and I can show that in court, that fraud stands as true. And these people are now liable. These people are now going to owe me substantial compensation because they had no right whatsoever to try to defraud me, a man, that I own a debt. So how am I going to respond? There's a way of responding. You respond by way of notice. This is the way I respond. And I'm offering forward to yourself as a consideration to make this process simple, to make this process navigable, you know, to make this process accessible to anybody who's not learned and is not conversant with codes and statutes, who are just steamrolled with fear and anxiety when these things appear through the letterbox. I'm gonna hold them liable for that fear, that nightmare, them endless nights, that turmoil that they threw my life into by way of a fraud. That's serious. People take their lives because of this stuff. It's an interference in your rights to be let alone in peace. and I'm going to invoke my rights to defend myself from this fraud. I'm going to move you. We must begin to come together with the belief that we must move claims in court against this fraud, against the individuals who are signing a name and bear liability for the nightmare they throw your life into with no right whatsoever, because they have a belief within their society that we spoke about earlier. They have a belief that you are not a man, that you are not a woman, because you are not acting in the capacity of a man or a woman. You are responding to pieces of paper. You are in fear. You are not governing. You are not taking authority and control over this situation, which is what you must do as a man or a woman, because that's the only recourse that you have. That's the only defence that you have, is your inherent rights. And these people are well aware of that. They acknowledge that. They're enshrined in the Bible, and they used to have the Bible in the court. It was part of the fixtures and fittings, which they acknowledge as the ultimate expression of truth. Well, the same one who authored that Bible, this is their beliefs, and it's my beliefs, are the same ones that encoded my inherent rights, that I can invoke and I can defend myself with. And you have them also. But you can't fake this. You can't go in there and say, I'll give it a shot, I'll give it a try, because these people who they don't get to these positions by being foolish individuals. A lot of these people who organise these systems and societies are evil individuals. They can read psychology. They can see by your demeanour, by the way you hold yourself. They can tell by the paperwork that you present whether you know exactly who you are and where you stand and whether you have authority. They'll know it in a heartbeat. And they are experts with words. They are word magicians. They use word occult against you. They want you to speak to this thing. Listen to the last part of this letter. It says, if there is an issue with this balance, or you need to help to pay, like they're going to help me to pay it, like, lend a tenner, help me to pay, please get in touch, please get in touch, and we will work to resolve this with you. Please get in touch. If you're struggling to pay, it's important that you get help. We have listed organisations offering free and part. Yeah, get in touch, get in touch. They just want you to get in touch. They want you bring this stuff to life by getting in touch, by believing I can speak to CCS. When it's got no mouth, it's got no ears. I'm going to be speaking to another man, and I'm going to, after the belief system, that I'm talking to 3 letters. This is not Sesame Street. This is not brought to you today by the letters CCS. This has come to my street, a real street, causing real harm, causing real stress, causing, well, it isn't like, but normally it would, because I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to write a simple notice to these people, as courteous and polite as you like, and it's going to say something like, hi, I've received this lovely correspondence from you today, and I'm acknowledging it straight away because of the seriousness of its contents. This notice is to make you aware that whether knowingly or unknowingly you have involved yourself in a fraud or an attempted fraud to deprive a man of his property. I claim that there is no debt outstanding. I claim that HM Revenue and Customs do not exist. And I'm ordering you to cease and desist immediately, or I will hold you liable in court. I will sue you in court. Mr. Managing Director, Mr. CEO, Mr. whoever you are, that gains the benefit from this, that gains reward from doing this, I will come after you personally, not CCS. And that's the attitude, and that's the way you must look at this stuff. This is wrong. People don't have a right to do this. This is wrong. And you do have recourse, and it lies within yourself. It lies within your inherent law. It lies within your inherent rights. If you get in touch with a fiction, and you get in touch with a dead entity, or you get in touch with a corporation, which is a talking corpse, which is a zombie, well, you've just diminished your capacity from that as a sane individual, basically, as a living man. You can't talk to a dead entity, you can only speak to another man or woman. And you must recognise that fact and impress it upon every dealings that you have with these pieces of paper, because these pieces of paper are just pieces of paper. It's not a gun, it's not a violent mob, it's a piece of paper. It's going to fall on my beliefs. I believe it's a fraud. I will claim that this is a fraud. I will prove this is a fraud, and I will hold you liable for the fraud. What more do you need to know? What more investigations do you need to do? How many more books do you need to read? How many more fancy words do you need to learn? It's a fraud. I, a man, claim that this correspondence is a fraud, and I will hold you liable for the fraud. What you attempted to gain from me, £5,600, I now require. That's another word you need to learn the meaning of. It means by right and with authority. I'm going to require of you 3 times that amount, and that's what I'm entitled in law, what's in the Bible, what it says I'm entitled to if I show what you've done is wrong, or you've brought a false claim into the public. You cannot do it. You know it, I know it, and the good people who are watching this, I hope they get to know it as well, because they can just as easily call this out as a fraud. They can outline the fraud, and they will hold you liable also. That's what you've got coming down the road if we can't work this out and get this society back on an even keel, where we're not being killed, where we're not being exploited, where we're not having our property seized. That's what we want. We want to do what's right. We're hoping that you will do what's right within the legal society, that you will stop. It's wrong. It's destroying the city, it's destroying the town, it's destroying the children. You're enacting codes and statutes which are wicked, which are evil, which are harmful, which are destroying people. I'm sure that's not what you wished when you joined the noble profession. The law is a wonderful thing, it's for man's benefit. But you've turned it into a fraud. So okay, I'll give 2 instances just to reiterate. I mean, if people want to come back and ask things and do that, whatever they do on the internet, you know, throw something up. But one summons when I had an issue that had been going on for 6 years, and you know, I can't remember what it was. They kept writing to me. I just ignored it. Doesn't make no odds to me. It's just a fraud. And the only reason that I'm not advocating that you know, take that approach. That's a silly way to deal with things. The fact is that I don't hold no bank accounts. I don't have no internet access. I don't use the internet. I've sent about 10 texts in my entire life, and I don't engage in social media. So, you know, the only way I can communicate is in open court, in open voice. But these people want to communicate via pieces of paper, and that's how I should have responded straight away, not left it until it mounted up. I should have just dealt with it immediately. And that's what we must do as a discipline and as a way to operate, is when these things come through the door, day 1, day 2 at the latest, you need a response back to them, ordering them to cease and desist, because you're a man, you're a woman, you create orders. You're supposed to create order out of disorder. You give orders to these people that they're causing harm, they're interfering with a man's rights. Cease and desist immediately. You will be held liable for your interference. And you move that claim as a man. A man's claim stands as absolutely true, because he's going to testify to that claim that it's true. The word testify comes from the word testicle, that you're going to put your essence on the line, you're going to put your future on the line. This is serious when a man makes a claim, and the only way that can be challenged is by a counterclaim, that somebody's going to step forward and claim that your claim is a false claim, that it's not true. That's the way this works. And who can come forward and claim that it's false? It's not false. and there's no man at the end of it anyway. These are corporations. A zombie can't talk. The Inland Revenue can't come into court and answer my claim. Hasn't got a mouth to answer it. And there's no man who's claiming I owe them any debt. I asked Jason. So who do I owe the debt if I'm stood there with £10,000 in an envelope waving it round in the court? I say, okay, I've got the money. I owe them. Who do I owe? Bring forth the man or the woman that claims I owe a debt. Let them get in the box and let them testify that that debt is true. And then now we've got an arrangement. Now he's liable the same as I am. And he better prove that I owe that money, which I don't. How can they win? How can you lose if you stand as a man or a woman and you're aware and you can perform and you can articulate these truths? And you go into a court in a criminal situation, you know, which we must deal with via the paperwork. But if you end up in that situation, which I've been in a few times, and one of them I referred to, where what is the nature of this case, who's moving this, that this is a legal criminal complaint. Well, you know, I'm in the mindset, I'm a man. I know I'm not a member. I know I owe these people no duty and obligation. There's no requirement for me to know their statutes, to know their laws, or to use their templates, or to have anything to do with them. There's no requirement for me to know any of that. All I want to know is who claims I've done anything wrong. Who claims I owe a debt. Step forward and make your claim. And I'll honour the debt if it's lawful, if it's legitimate, if it's bona fide. You're going to have to claim that it's true. If you're making a false claim, then you're in big trouble. That's the law. This is the law. What we've got to have as our number one priority to begin to not only move in, we need to just acknowledge the fact that it's real and it exists, and because our belief systems have been so destroyed over 100, 150 years that we're just everyone's muppets, we're everyone's puppets. So when you go into court and you walk in, you know, and the prosecutor's there in the wig and the gown in red, and the judge is there, and you stood there in the box or wherever you may be. I wouldn't get in the box personally, but even if you are, you know, and you know, you said you're going to tell the truth, and well, good luck with that one. So, you know, you turn up in court, you know, with all your fears and your worries and whatever, wondering what's going to happen, whether the judge is going to be kind, whether the barrister's going to speak for you. So, you know, that's the mindset that you must adopt, is when you're there, is when that man stands up in his wig and gown, he's got his bundle of papers and a big red ribbon round it. It looks really impressive, it looks really frightening, and he's going to stand up in the court and he's going to say, Your Honour, well, when he does that, you must stand also and say, excuse me, Your Honour, because you're going to now take over that court. You're going to now flip that court out of the legal society's control, and you're going to put it under your control. And this is one way. And you stand up with that man before, and the judge will look over at you and you say, excuse me, Your Honour, is that man there? Is he testifying here today? And he'll say, no, he's not testifying. So he's not. So I am the only one testifying here today. Is that correct? And he'll say, well, yes. I say, so you mean to tell me that I am liable? I can go to prison. I can be locked up if I say anything that's untrue here, or is in error here. And he'll say, well, yes, it's perjury while under oath. I say, okay, but that man there can stand up and he can say anything he likes about me. He can accuse me of being Jack the Ripper. He can accuse me of doing this. He can say I'm that. He can say I've done this. And he's not liable for any of that. Is that what you're saying is going on here today? And he won't know what to say. He's not testifying to anything. He's not claiming anything in all that paperwork is true. He's just speaking in his legal capacity, not on the record. There needs to be specific elements in place for anybody to move a case into a court. And look up these are maxims, these are being a legal dictionary. Number one says the plaintiff must appear. It's not optional, it's not debatable. Whoever is bringing that case must appear. Okay, the defendant, you don't have to appear. You can put in your paperwork, you can have somebody go there and speak on your behalf, that's your decision, but the plaintiff must appear. So you say to the man in the wig and the gown, now you've ascertained that he's not testifying, and you are not going to allow him to just stand there and speak and say anything. What the next element of a case that he requires is, who is the plaintiff who you speak on behalf of, Mr. Prosecutor? And say, Your Honour, I represent the DVLA, or I represent the Inland Revenue Service. And you say, is that right? So you are not claiming I owe this debt. You are not claiming I've done anything wrong personally. I don't owe you. Is that correct? And he'll say, no, I'm just an agent. I'll say, okay, well, if you're the agent, you must produce the plaintiff. You must produce the principal. Bring him into this courtroom. Because I am claiming that he's a fraudster. I am going to claim that he's a liar. I'm going to hold him liable for his fraud and for his lies. And I'm going to require fair and just compensation. Do you have the plaintiff in court today, Mr. Barrister, Mr. Prosecutor? And he's going to have to say no. So he doesn't have the elements to move a case at all. It's all fraud. But if you don't know these facts, then you're going to get railroaded. You're going to bring this thing to light. You're going to erect this fraud right in front of you through your beliefs. You wish to claim any of that's true? No. Do you have a plaintiff in court with you this morning? No. Do you have any third-party independent witnesses to anything that's contained in that big, massive, impressive bundle in the red ribbon you have under your arm? Do you have any third-party independent witnesses to any of that? And he'll say no. And at that point you just say, well, you do not have the elements to move any case at all. Sit down. Your Honour, what's going on here? What sort of case is this? I require this case be discharged, and I require that man's details. I require his name, because I'm going to move a case against him. What he's just done is wrong. He's moved a case. He's interfered with my rights. He has caused me distress and harm and loss and sleepless nights, and he believes he can breeze in here with his cap and gown and call me this and call me that and accuse me of doing this. Who does he think he's speaking to? Does he think he's talking to a dead man who's not going to respond? Speaking to a man, I am going to respond. Does he think he's speaking to a corporation, a talking corpse, a zombie? I'm not a talking corpse. My documentation is affixed with a fingerprint. Did he think they're speaking to a person? The definition is one who wears a mask, one who takes part in a play, an actor. Do I look like I'm acting? Do I look like I'm wearing a mask? Do I look like I'm pretending to know what on earth you people are doing? That I understand your language, that I understand your codes, that I've got better things to do with my life and my day than to waste my time doing that, because I do not wish to defraud people. I don't need to know any of the stuff you hold so important, because I'll earn my own money. I'll get up and I'll work honestly and deal righteously and openly with people. So I'm not a member of your society because of your behaviour, because of your actions. There's no requirement for me to bow the knee to you. I'll have no wish to do so today, thank you. There is no case. There's no one there. But you believe that there is. I hope you're going to begin to believe that there isn't. And I'll give you... when I've been dealing with this over the years and dealing with these people eye to eye, I've purposely gone out of my way to go on my own, because there's lunatics all over the place who have come to me over the years and said, Ian, do some videos with us, mate. You can make 800 quid, all the advertising. And I'm saying, my goodness. I said, if I was a magistrate, I'd give you 12 months. You're a public menace. What do you mean you're driving around trying to get the police to pull you over and to do this so you can make YouTube videos? You're out of your mind. This information is for sane people. This is for men who know how to behave and how to act. The system that's been erected around us is there to extract your wealth, and to do that they have to make you compliant, and they do that through fear, and that fear is rooted in your beliefs, and they have controlled your beliefs for possibly all your life. There's nothing there. Move a claim. Only a man or a woman can move a claim. And you know, you're watching this video, I hope you're getting a different perspective. And I'll tell you one that had gone on for years, and in the end, when I'd said to this, they were, oh, please Ian, will you please just come in and deal with this? I said, well, I'll tell you what, I've been down to your courts 4 or 5 times to deal with this. All you appear to do is just hold your position and get the security and throw me out. I said, it's just pointless. I said, if you get me a Crown Court judge, I said, I'll come down. This was a motoring offence that had run on for 7 years, no insurance or something. And so a couple of hours later, the guy phoned back. He said, can you come in on Friday? There's a district court judge sitting, that somebody who'd been remanded in custody was appearing in court for sentence, and the judge had agreed to see me as soon as he'd finished with the sentence, and could I go at 2 o'clock, which I did. I left my shed here, fed the chickens, and done what I was doing, and I had a carrier bag, and all I'd done is I'd sat there with 3 notices. I wrote a notice to the court clerk, I wrote a notice to the prosecutor, and a notice to the judge. I didn't know any of the names, just put to the man acting as or woman acting as, blah blah, and the same with the judge. And I had them in a carrier bag. I walked into the court. Outside in the waiting room there was a young lady about 30, crying her eyes out unconsolably with her mother or whatever. There was a barrister hovering over them, and she was just crying her eyes out. And the usher said, Mr. Carter. I said, well, who's asking? But anyway, we goes through, and she opens the double-decker doors. The usher goes through, there's a gap, a few yards in case so you can't run away, another big set of heavy double doors, and she opens the doors, and right in front of me there's the judge in his wig and gown and his sash, and his people down below, all the clerks. There were police everywhere because they'd been waiting for me to get in. There was 7 no bail warrants had been issued over the last 4 or 5 years and stuff, and I walked through, and the usher had gone ahead of me. The judge is just bearing down on me with his eyes. I didn't even acknowledge him. The usher said, would you like to make your way into the box, please, Mr. Carter? And that's the point where I spoke. I said, excuse me, my love. I said, why on earth would you wish for me to get in a box? I said, that sounds like a strange request. I said, is that man up there? And I pointed at the judge. I said, are you hoping he's going to make me disappear? Or is someone going to try and saw me in half? No, is this a magic trick? And the whole court, I just... the whole atmosphere changed completely, and it was just me and the judge looking eye to eye with the police everywhere. And I said, you can hear me. I believe I was invited down here to partake in a hearing. Is that correct? And he wouldn't speak. He wouldn't acknowledge me. He wouldn't say anything. I said, you do appreciate that you have a man stood before you here that has come to get a controversy sorted. You do realise that. You have been noticed of that, have you not? That judge would not speak. He would not open his mouth. And I said, well, is that it? I said, are you just going to hold your position? Are you just going to carry on the act? I said, because I said, I'm here to be honourable and to get this situation resolved, and I believed that you may be the man to do it. Are you just going to hold your position? And he wouldn't speak. And I said, well, okay. I said, there's 3 notices here. I said, there's one for your court clerk, what she's doing's wrong, fraudulent, cease and desist, one for the prosecutor. And I said, I didn't know who you were going to be today. I said, so I've just addressed yours as Rob. I said, this is for you, Rob. And I passed it, one of the clerks took it off me. And this guy was looking at me, he's gone purple, he'd gone green, there was sweat running down his face. He wanted the police were chomping at the bit. What's going on here? Give us the nod, give us the what is going on here. He didn't say a word, nothing. I said, okay. I said, are we done here? I said, okay. I said, I'm out of here. And sorry, on the paperwork that had been sent previously, it said deft to appear. I didn't know what it meant till I had a look at the legal definition. It says you better be on your best game, you better not be a faker. Have a look at the legal definition of the word deft. It was on my paperwork and I was appearing on the back of that. So I said, right, okay, I'm done here. And I spun round with my carrier bag, and the usher, she jumped back. She was in a trance. I don't know where she was, probably just mortified. And she spun round on her heels and went to put her hands on the double doors. And that was when the judge was, see, they're going to trick you. They want to know if you're fully awake and you're fully aware and you're on the ball and you're on the metal, or they're going to slam you. They're going to, you know. And as I was walking, just as she put her hands on the door, they opened half an inch, and the judge spoke from behind me, had me back to him. And he went, Mr. Carter. And the usher stopped dead, spun round, so now she's looking at me, at the judge behind me. I can't acknowledge him. If I acknowledge him, I've just diminished my capacity from that of a man. I've just lost my court. I've just lost my jurisdiction. I've just lost my authority. Because I'm just speaking to Mickey Mouse. I'm speaking to Roger Rabbit. I'm speaking to a fiction. I'm speaking to a corporation. I'm speaking to a judge. I can only speak to another man. So she spun round, she's looked at it, so I didn't even turn my head towards the judge. As far as I'm concerned, there's no man speaking. So I addressed the usher. I said, excuse me, hon. I said, did you hear anything then? I said, I thought I heard a man speak, but I'm not too sure. I said, did you hear anything? And she said, it's the judge, it's the judge, it's the judge. I said, it's the judge. I said, I'm all right for judges today, thank you. I didn't come here to be judged. I said, I married my judge. I said, and I paid £200 for another one. It's got 4 legs and a tail. I said, I'm not here to be judged. I just want to know, is there another man in this room other than I? Yes or no? And just put my hand up. Still with me back to the judge. He didn't say a word. I said, oh, obviously I was mistaken, my love. Maybe the window banged or maybe a dog farted. Wasn't very eloquent like, but it was a tense situation. I said, obviously not. I said, let's get out of here. And she spun round. She was looking at the judge, waiting for the judge to speak. And I tell you, if I would give anything to have had a camera to be able to see what was going on behind me with all them police, all them officials, all that judge. Everyone was, the tension was horrible when I went in. He just gave a young lad 4 years and stuff. Everyone was kind of horrible atmosphere. And I walked in and ruined it. And so I said, right, I'm left. And that was it. You've got to operate in reality that there is no man speaking to you. There is no woman speaking to you. It's a judge in a society that you are not a member of. You have not joined. You don't understand the language. You don't understand the codes. You don't understand the statutes. You don't understand any of it. But you believe that you do. You believe that you can enter one of them portals and interact with these people when you can't. Why would you even do it? Why not just, if you know it's a fraud and you know it's causing you harm, why not just call it out by way of a claim? I claim that's wrong. I claim what you're doing is fraudulent. I'm going to prove that fraud, and I'm going to hold you liable for that harm. Cease and desist immediately, and that's it. That's it. No interaction. no pleading the Fourth Amendment, no estoppels, no affidavits, no nothing. Cease and desist immediately. I'm ordering you. I, a man, order you to cease and desist, you zombie, you person, you corporation. You're speaking to a man. I'm in charge. I'm in control. If you wish to claim I've done anything wrong, then bring forth your claim and I'll answer it. Don't be bringing complaints. Not enough hours in the day to deal with complaints. And you say so. And you can collapse them cases. Governmental agency can't take you to court. It can't speak. So how can it answer a man's questions? It doesn't have to answer a person's questions. You're just there to be shafted. You're just there to be taken advantage of. It's a man that gets to speak. If you're going to speak, you best speak as a man. Or you're going to lose. You're going to get deceived. Just realise the game. It's all been a nightmare. It's been a bad dream. Just wake up from it. Have a change of mind. I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I don't believe they've got any right to do any of it. I hold a higher duty and obligation than they hold on anybody anyway. It's a fraud, it's a deception, it's causing harm, and you've got to educate yourself. And you've got to educate yourself first and foremost with where you stand in this mad place called the world and a planet. Who put you here? Why are you here? What's going on here? These are the questions you need to ask. These are the questions you need to answer. And then you need to move and you need to act accordingly, according to those beliefs. And not be deceived. Watch for these things. Be aware, be alert. And let's come together and try between the, fellow believers, people who will change their mind, who'll drop all this voodoo birth certificate nonsense. I don't care what they base their fraud on, whether it's a birth certificate. I'm never going to cancel my birth certificate because it's proof positive that I was born in this land, that I've got a right to claim a piece of this land, that I've got a right to exercise the duties and obligations that are inherent with being born on this land. And to me, that's all it is. It's just evidence that I didn't come over here on a boat. I was born here. I've got a right to be here. God has chosen the place where I was going to be born, the day I was going to be born, the place I was going to be born, and that's where I was born. I don't need a piece of paper. If they wish to, inflict some voodoo onto a piece of paper and then use that as a sop for the conscience that it's okay to then treat men and women like animals, well, they'll stand for that. They will answer for that. Wait till the Creator gets hold of them. They're not going to escape judgment. You've got to escape their deception, and you've got to get yourself free. And you've got to do that by comprehending that there is no one higher on this planet than you and I. We are it. God made man and woman in his image to govern the land, the earth and one another. And it's time that to govern. Alright, so just in closing, there's the fire's running down. It's getting a bit chilly down my neck. I want to finish. I want you to listen to this poem I'm going to put on the end of it and meditate on it and then watch the video back again. All the best for the new year, and I hope we can go forward and make something positive happen for our children and our grandchildren, let alone ourselves. God bless.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. Or watch the things you gave your life to, broken, and stoop and build 'em up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.